Hello and welcome to the News9 Plus Show on the world's first news and current affairs OTT platform, News9 Plus. The 2024 Olympic Games has stirred yet another controversy, this time involving transgender athletes. 25-year-old Algerian boxer Imane Khelif defeated Italian boxer Angela Carini in just 46 seconds at the Paris Olympics. Angela withdrew in order to preserve her life, as she called it. Now, this is not the first time when Imane has been in the center of a controversy. In 2023, in Delhi, at the World Boxing Championship, the IBA disqualified Imane from competing over gender eligibility issues. Now, facing criticism in Paris, the Olympic chiefs have released a statement that despite Imane failing a sex test last year, they've insisted that every person has the right to practice sport without discrimination. Now, even high-profile personalities like Elon Musk and Rowling have criticized the IOC's decision to allow Khelif to compete. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has also said that she's been opposing the decision to allow athletes with genetically male characteristics to compete in the women's category since 2021. Clearly, this controversy has ignited a broader debate on inclusion and eligibility in women's sports. To talk about these gender bender games, as we're calling it, I have with me someone who can talk about this, Dutee Chand. She is the current 100-meter champion, and in the studio with me is veteran sports journalist Rakesh Rao. Dutee, welcome to the News9 Plus Show. Rakesh. Namaskar.
Namaskar, Dutee. How are you?
Fine, sir.
Rakesh, I want to start by asking you this. Break down this controversy for us.
Yeah.
What we just witnessed at Paris, which is a small controversy over the gender of one of the boxers involved, which is quickly spiraled into a political controversy of sorts. Everyone's jumped in on this debate. Must athletes who have an advantage over another athlete because of the chromosomes, the XY chromosome, is there an XY factor in this? What is this controversy all about?
See, number one, when we talk about, sports in general, we talk about equality.
Yeah.
Equality in the sense there are certain things, of course, we do talk about personalities, performances, and so on and so forth. But we have always argued that it has to be fair to everyone. The eligibility criteria should be equal for everyone. But in this particular case, there is a slight difference. And I'll just try and put things in perspective because there have been arguments on both sides of the line. One side says that you have to include them. I mean, this word inclusion and being inclusive, this has been the kind of watchword for a bit now. It's all fine. I'm completely for it. But when you are talking about what is at stakes, up there you need, if everything is equal, the facilities, as we say, it varies from a developed country to a developing country to an underworld country. It is different. So it is not equal in that sense. So this is the other side of the argument as well. So when you say we are providing equality and we respect equality, in this particular case, it is blurred. It is seriously blurred here. The dividing line which says that, okay, men and women are going to, compete separately, which is perfectly fine.
Right.
Because of the way they're made, biologically they're different, the physicality and so on and so forth. But in this case, when you say that in a combat sport or in a contact sport, where the physical requirement for you to excel or to perform, that set of skill set, if we just look at the skill sets or the kind of things which are needed for you to excel, say it is A, B, and C. Now, when you look at somebody who is not a transgender, that person will have it in lesser quantity. For example, we say some of the chemicals produced by your system, which is supposed to give you that kind of strength, if that is being produced in a higher quantity, that is what we say in the case of a transgender, that person by default is at an advantage. Now, in this particular case, this is what happened, and this is not something new. I mean, this is something that we have seen right through the 70s. I remember, like Rennie Richards, one of the first big names,
Right.
which really created something. Who moved from being a male to a female, tried to take part in the US Open, was barred from taking part. She took the authorities to court, and in the following year, she did play and lose early.
Right.
Now, the point is that it is not necessary that just because you're a transgender, you are going to have that advantage and you're going to, use it to the hilt and win. In this particular case, it's a boxing bout.
Right.
That is where the poundage of every punch matters. Now, of course, you are guarded, you have taken all the safety precautions, but when a person who is, declared or like a sort of, I mean, if I were to use the word, like bona fide transgender, will definitely have an advantage. And what we saw yesterday was for the world to see that such cases are bound to happen. A person who was barred from the World Championship is allowed to take part in the Olympics, and the person is definitely better, stronger, fitter, and then of course these girls are going to get pounded, and that's what we see. 46 seconds of a bout, you choose to withdraw. I mean, she could have
Right.
continued. Of course, she was hit very badly, as we all could see. But then, if she has made a statement by withdrawing, let's take it seriously.
Right, absolutely, and thanks for putting that in perspective. I'm going to ask Dutee this question. Dutee जी, News 9 Plus Show में आपका स्वागत है. कुछ साल पहले आपके साथ भी इस तरह की कंट्रोवर्सी, कुछ सवाल रेज किए गए कि आप कैसे कम्पीट कर रहे हैं, यू हैव गॉट एन एडवांटेज आपके फेलो एथलीट्स के ऊपर. हाउ डिड यू हैंडल इट एट दैट टाइम, एंड व्हाट मेमोरीज, वो किस तरह के आपको मेमोरीज ये रिफ्रेश किए इस कंट्रोवर्सी ने?
कल ओलंपिक में ये जो कंट्रोवर्सी क्रिएट हुआ है, इसको देख के तो मेरा 2014 में मेरे साथ में जो हुआ था, कॉमनवेल्थ गेम के लिए सिलेक्ट हुई थी, 3 दिन से पहले टीम से मुझे नहीं लिया गया और निकाल दिया गया और कहा गया कि पूरी दुनिया में कि मेरा जेंडर टेस्ट हुआ था, इसमें मैं मेल पाया गया, इसलिए वुमेन कैटेगरी में मैं नहीं खेल सकती हूँ करके. तो काफ़ी कठिनाई था उस टाइम का. काफ़ी लोग ने क्रिटिसाइज किया था, मेरा जेंडर को लेकर सवाल उठाया था. बहुत दिक्कत हुआ था उस टाइम में. मैंने नॉर्मल लाइफ जीने में भी दिक्कत हो रहा था उस टाइम में. आसपास में कहीं बाजार भी नहीं जा पाती थी, काफ़ी लोग सवाल करते थे, काफ़ी लोग ताना मारते थे. मैंने इतना मेहनत करके देश के लिए खेल रही थी मैंने, लेकिन लास्ट मोमेंट में उन्होंने मुझे इतना बदनाम करा गया था. उस टाइम में कोई सपोर्टिंग करने के लिए पास में भी नहीं आई थी. फिर भी मैं जो स्ट्रेंथ के साथ मैंने ये केस को फाइट किया था. 2014 में मैं केस अप्लाई किया था स्विट्जरलैंड में, कोर्ट ऑफ आर्बिट्रेशन स्पोर्ट्स. वहाँ पे वही मैं लिख के दिया था कि जो हार्मोन प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है वो नेचुरल है. हार्मोन बनने से कोई लड़का बन नहीं जाता है, कि ज़्यादा ताकत नहीं हो जाता बॉडी में. और नेचुरल हार्मोन वो कभी बढ़ता है तो कभी कम भी हो जाता है. आपने भी देखे होंगे हार्मोन के बजाय कहीं पे भी कुछ दिक्कत होता है किसी को, लेकिन मुझे तो कभी दिक्कत नहीं हुआ है. ऐसा भी बहुत सारा कंपटीशन है जहाँ पे मैं हार भी गया है, अच्छा प्रदर्शन भी नहीं कर पाया, क्योंकि एक एथलीट हमेशा परफॉर्मेंस उधर ही होता है जब वो कड़ी मेहनत करता है, जब सिस्टम के साथ वो ट्रेनिंग करता है तो परफॉर्मेंस धीरे धीरे इंक्रीज होता है. तो उसी को लेके मैंने परफॉर्मेंस कर रही थी. मैंने इससे 2014 से पहले भी यूथ एशियन एथलेटिक चैंपियनशिप में भी मैंने अच्छा प्रदर्शन किया था, गोल्ड मेडल लिया था. और उसी को देख के उन्होंने मुझे, उन लोगों को लगा कि मेरा हार्मोन के बजाय मैं ज़्यादा परफॉर्मेंस अच्छा कर रहा हूँ, तो इसलिए उन्होंने टेस्ट करके मुझे निकाल दिया गया था. तो फिर मैंने चैलेंज किया कि जो हार्मोन लेवल बढ़ रहा है ये नेचुरल है और ये हार्मोन मुझे कोई भी एडवांटेज नहीं देता है स्पोर्ट्स में. तो इसी को प्रूव करने के लिए 1 ईयर लिया था वर्ल्ड एथलेटिक एसोसिएशन वालों ने, लेकिन प्रूव करके नहीं दिखाया कि हार्मोन के बजाय कोई परफॉर्मेंस इंक्रीज होता है. तो फिर मैं ट्रैक को वापस आया 2015 में, और 2016 रियो ओलंपिक भी खेला मैंने, टोक्यो ओलंपिक भी खेला मैंने, 2 ओलंपिक खेलने का मौका मिला था.
तो मतलब आपको 1 साल का पूरा अग्नि परीक्षा करना पड़ा और आपने मतलब आप सफल होके बाहर निकले उसमें से. लेकिन इस कंट्रोवर्सी को
के लिए मुझे ज़्यादा मेहनत करना पड़ा, ज़्यादा फाइटिंग करना.
लेकिन दुती जी, अभी इस कंट्रोवर्सी को लेके जहाँ पे ईमान खलीफ को एक्चुअली मेल पाया गया है कुछ टेस्ट में, उन्होंने साफ कहा है कि शी इज़ एक्चुअली अ मेल बॉक्सर एंड शी कैन नॉट कम्पीट. जैसे कि पिछले साल में जो दिल्ली में जो बॉक्सिंग चैंपियनशिप हुए, उन्होंने कहा. इस पर्टिकुलर सिचुएशन में आपको क्या लगता है कि कैसे होना चाहिए ये? क्या दोनों ऐसे वो कॉन्टेस्ट कर सकते हैं एक विमेन स्पोर्ट्स में?
अभी अभी आयुष के रूल तो क्या है मुझे इतना मालूम नहीं है। मेरे केस जो हुआ था वो मेरा हार्मोन लेवल ज्यादा बढ़ गया था।
जी
उसमें मुझे कहीं पे भी मेंशन नहीं किया गया कि मेरा जो जेंडर मेल करके, मेरा फीमेल जेंडर है, लेकिन हार्मोन टेस्टोस्टेरोन हार्मोन
जी
थोड़ा
जी
ज्यादा था। इसलिए मुझे टीम से खेलने के लिए रुका गया था। लेकिन केस जीतने के बाद ये जो प्रूव हुआ, मेडिकल टीम ने जो प्रूव किया कि नहीं मेरा फीमेल है, मेरा हार्मोन लेवल टेस्टोस्टेरोन थोड़ा मात्रा थोड़ा ज्यादा है, इसलिए फिर इसको रिलीव करके मुझे खेलने को मौका दिया गया था। लेकिन अभी जो केस आ रहा है कि मतलब टेस्टिंग में जेंडर पाया गया है कि मेल करके, तो
जी
वो तो मैं बोल नहीं सकती क्योंकि मैं तो मेडिकल टीम के बारे में इतना मालूम नहीं है, साइंटिस्ट टीम
जी
के बारे
जी
में वो लोग क्या डिसीजन लेंगे। लेकिन जो हार्मोन लेवल की बात उठी थी, महिला के अंदर में जो टेस्टोस्टेरोन मात्रा ज्यादा होने की आप खेल नहीं सकते, वो सबसे बड़ा अन्याय था, गलत था। तो इसी
बिल्कुल
को लेके मैंने भी फाइट किया था, 1 साल पूरा कंटिन्यू मैंने फाइट किया। काफी लोगों का एथलीट, ऐसे एथलीट थे जिनका करियर पूरा मिट्टी में मिल गया था। आपने कास्टर सोमनिया का नाम सुने होंगे, कास्टर साउथ अफ्रीका की लड़की,
जी
इसको भी बैन करा गया था। इंडिया में शांति सुंदरंजन, पिंकी प्रमाणी, रश्मि, बहुत सारे ऐसे एथलीट है, इनको भी बैन करा गया था। मैं
जी
जब केस जीत के आया, इन लोग को फिर खेलने को मौका मिला। तो जेंडर को तो इक्वलिट करना चाहिए क्योंकि फीमेल और मेल, लेकिन फीमेल के साथ मेल तो खेलना तो सही नहीं रहेगा मेरे हिसाब से। लेकिन ये मेडिकल टीम जो बोलेगा वो उसके ऊपर होगा, मुझे इतना
बिल्कुल
मालूम नहीं।
Bilkul. So, Rakesh, coming back to this point that you made, that equality is
Yeah.
the fundamental thing in the
Principle,
sport,
yeah,
and is there a need for, in sports like say boxing, when two opponents actually come in contact with each other, and Angelina Carini actually withdrew because she feared for her life.
Yeah.
Is there a fit case for such sports to be actually segregated based on, absolutely no tolerance to be allowed in such cases?
Yeah, why not? Because this is the time for it to be actually reviewed. You can't
Right.
have, it's like one size fits all. You can't
Right.
really have that
Right.
kind of a principle here. You need to ensure that, okay, if it's a combat sport, it is different.
Yeah.
And any contact sport, again, it has to be different. But then, for example, a game like, say, for example, chess, archery, shooting, any of these games, you can still have it, because it is yet to be proved that if your levels of, any chemical, any kind of a hormone which is being produced,
Right.
if it is more, it is helping you perform better. That hasn't been proved as yet. So in these games, which are purely skill based, I think you can still have it, be it billiards and snooker. I have no problems with that. But the problem is when you have something where your skill sets, apart from that, there is this element of speed and stamina involved, and
Right.
strength, of course. So that is where we are going to see a difference. I'll give you two instances which we saw in the last Olympic Games in 2020 Tokyo, which of course took part in, which actually was held in 2021, 3 years ago. There was this weightlifter, I think she's from Australia. She made it to the, she didn't win a medal. Obviously here we are talking about, somebody having that kind of, that advantage over strength. That person didn't have enough to go through, and the person lost before the final, I think. That was one part. And the other example is, I think it was a Canadian women's football team where one member was a trans, and that person, of course, walked away with a medal. So we can't really, pinpoint, but coming back to your question, that is it time for us to review it? Seriously, yes.
Right.
This is the time. Let's address it once for all. Let's put our minds together, and let's not be unfair to one side or the other. Here what we are doing is we are either taking a sympathetic view,
Yes.
and once we say this part about inclusion, then you are being unfair to those who are at the receiving end, like in
Right.
this case the Italian girl. Carini has every reason to feel distraught. She has every reason to feel devastated because of the rules. Now, if that could be applied in the World Championship, about the same person here we're talking about, right? So let's just go back and review it. I'm not saying dismiss it or,
Right.
it shouldn't be a knee-jerk reaction. It has to be a very, it has to be a very considered view where people are expressing their views and also take the athletes into confidence. You cannot be sitting in those air-conditioned comforts of your room
Yes.
and pass a rule, or just, you say from this particular date we are going to follow this rule. No, it has to be, you have to consider a lot of views, and if it needs, you have to segregate certain events from the others. Please do that. And even if it comes to a point where you say, in certain disciplines, trans are not allowed,
Yes.
let's stick to it. Let's respect that. Let's not, view it as something that, oh my God, this is my right to participate, right of, equality and so on and so forth. Let that kind of, the kind of discourse which we indulge in, let's save it for another day, another place.
Right, absolutely. Certain, disciplines where lives are involved, possibly life and limb is involved,
Absolutely.
you should certainly have a zero tolerance policy. But, thanks very
Completely with
much
you on this,
for putting that into perspective for us, Rakesh. Dutee ji, बहुत धन्यवाद आपने हमें join किया News9 Plus show पे, and this is a controversy that we'll be following very closely. It's a sporting controversy out of Paris 2024, which is speedily turned into a political controversy of sort, the gender bender games as we're calling it.